As you can see, there are none up here of those little grape things because most of the little crabs and stuff that I have in here take care of them. You can leave them, just don't pop them in the water. You can scrape them off if they start getting on other things, but you know, it's beneficial algae. It eats up some of the bad nutrients that are in there and then leaves the rest of the stuff, so don't worry about them. I try to do a lot of caves so they can come up and around, but I try to do as many blockades for him. And where these clowns are right now is actually where he goes. So I don't know why he doesn't want to be home, but I think my clowns have eggs in there, but you can kind of see them right there on the wall, those eggs. So they'll lay eggs every once in a while unless they're actually laying the eggs right now. And nothing happens. They just turn them into little snacks and they eat them after a month. And if you go anywhere near them, they'll bite you. So that's basically it for those guys. This mess back here, this white thing is a heat controller. Very, very important. You plug both of the heaters in there and it will keep them between 76 and 78. That way if one of them ever broke or got a leak, it's not going to go nuclear and cook the whole tank out. So this is probably the most important thing I have on the tank right now. This big tube coming out of the wall is part of my vacuum system. It goes with the thing downstairs. I'm probably going to cut this off or disconnect it downstairs, and I'll give you the whole tube from the downstairs and the connector on it. I have timers back here that will come with it, and those are for the RODI, so they come on at 6 to 8. And then I have the other one for the Refugium light. This weird looking thing right here that has the water tube, that's the on-off switch for it to be hooked up to the RO tank downstairs. That way it has a power solenoid to open and shut it. So that's how the water knows when it's time to come out. When you're doing your major cleaning back here, these things just kind of come apart like Legos. You'll just wiggle it and it pops up. And underneath this, you'll see the one curved up, just wiggle it. And then there's one further down there. As you can see, this thing's being like really noisy right now. Hopefully you can hear that. To fix that, you go down here, and it's this knob right here. But you got to go ever so gently. You just give it a little turn tighter. And then as you can hear, the noise is almost gone. But notice as I turn that, right now it's between 6 and 8, so my fresh water just kicked in and it starts filling up. So basically don't turn that knob and walk away from the fish tank. You're just waiting to see if everything doesn't start overfilling. If you turned it too much, you'll start seeing water come out of this one down into there. It can drip every so often, that's fine. But if you just see water pouring down there, that means that this thing right here is turned tight too much, and just kind of work with it till it's right where it needs to be. Here I have the egg crate down here with the 2 heaters, and then you see the little water level line on that. During water changes, this right here likes to foam up like a warm beer, and it will just kind of fizzle out. So you want to keep an eye on that. You just tune it by tuning this up and down. So right after you do a water change, keep an eye on that one because it will overflow, or after a power outage this thing likes to fill up. Usually if it's filled up, I just empty the whole thing onto the little sponge right there and let it start over. There's no point in messing with the salinity and taking the water out because of that thing. So right now I turn that knob and it's going to keep filling up the water, and I have it on low setting so that it doesn't just spray water everywhere. These corals over here, you don't want to put them on regular rocks. I put them on regular rocks right there because I didn't put them on regular rocks right there. They did it themselves. They just let go and they floated up there. But usually the anemone is up there and takes care of them. The Rhyodactys are white a little bit from getting tagged by the the NEM. Oh, there's King right there. He smells the algae sticking to the little power head right here. So there he is with the stuff on his head. So he's the one that cleans up the tank at night, and then he's the one that will take care of any of the back wall stuff, and then he'll clean that up. And then of course we got our Astra snails. We got to make sure that those guys don't get flipped over. There's another one. They're pretty big. There's a ton of hermit crabs in here. You'll just all of a sudden see a snail acting weird and walking in a different way. And that's how you find him. And just kind of giving you an eyeball of what these are. These green ones are really sought after by the local fish store, and that's on a frag. You should be able to pop that off pretty easily. I don't have it glued in, so there's a couple that are just rogue around there that will grow. So a lot of these, like with that, you should be able to just pop off, bring to a local fish store. They'll give you pretty good credits for these type of things, as long as he doesn't zap them. Each one of these squares has a bunch of little copepod hotels inside them, so that's what's on the bottom of them. So if you want to keep the mandarin going in there, I was hoping maybe he'd come out and say hi, but he is all purple with little circles on him, like little bullseyes, and every once in a while you'll just see him pop up. It's kind of a fun treat. It looks like a little oh, there's a starfish right there. Right there's one arm from the bristle star. He is probably 2 feet wide, but he's that big. I don't know how far he'll come out right now, but yeah, that's not a snake or anything. That's, oh, there's the rest of his body. Here he comes. So that's how big he is. There's also one down in the sump that takes care of the rocks down there and keeps all the stuff clean down there. I've never thought about putting them in the same tank, because I need to keep the sump clean down here. So I keep this rock rubble down here, and that's where the other one lives. And I do drop some food down there every other day, but as you can see, this guy will just slowly come out. He's probably one of the coolest starfish I got in there. And then there is a red starfish somewhere in here, and every time I think he's gone, he'll just show up on the glass. So he's in here somewhere. He's probably about 4 years old. I don't know where he's at, but you'll see him eventually. And I believe this is a bubble tip NEM, because you can see him kind of bubbling up. I think they call him a fire anemone. If he gets too bad, you may have to turn off the light on the one side, or just turn off the lights altogether. I recommend turning off the lights using your phone or using the switch down below. Don't try to just unplug a light up here, because it's just bad. It does like a little electrical shock. So hopefully everything's gonna work out great for you. If you need help, you'll just reach out to me. I gave you my cell phone number. These guys are totally gonna break when we take them apart tomorrow. We'll try to be as careful as possible getting them out of there, but it won't take long. This right here is from December, and it used to just be 3 of them, and then it all grew into that. This guy down here with all the little green things coming out, you don't want to put him near anything important, because he has these little tentacles that'll come out and sting him. And I think they call him supersonic or Sega or hedgehog or something. But that's why I keep them down in that little valley, and there's really nothing else by them. There's a couple of the mushrooms that I can't do anything with. They're gonna grow where they're gonna grow. Party guy's still looking at us. Oh, I get to show you why you can't walk away from the tank after turning that thing. Notice that this is all the way up here now, and there's the water coming out. So I'm going to close this, I'm going to open it, half turn, and it takes just about as long to right sizes. So that's the overflow. Now there's really no chance that this thing's gonna flood on you because I have too many shutoffs and things that are going to make that not happen. You'd have to turn off my securities on it to do that. I keep this red tray right here, this little cutting tray, because sometimes the main tank wants to drip water on it, and that will tell me it's time to check connections. You don't want to put these connectors right here too tight. You want to hand tighten them only. Don't use any tools on them. This is probably going to be the most annoying part of your whole moving the tank up. So you'll probably want to take a Brillo pad to this area before you put the tank on it. Clean that up really good. Clean the connectors up on the pipes really good. And then hand tight. So don't use tools on it. If you're over tight, it's always going to leak on you. But again, I keep that little red plate right there, and it just kind of leans forward and drips into the tank because it just does its thing. And plus I want to know if it's leaking so I can fix it right away. So I think as you can see, there's not a lot of mess on it, so it doesn't really leak unless I bump it or something in the wrong way. So this is still leaking. I'll turn it a little bit more. Alright, by turning it you can see that it's dripping slower and slower. I know that it will stop, and then you'll know something's up if you start hearing the fresh water kick in. So this little cup right here, I fill this up with water. I get these at Petco, but they're just little squares of mysis shrimp. I get the green one too. So I used to do like every other, but I'm down to my last pack right now on this. So you just grab a little fish nugget. Once you have the fish nugget, you just put it in there. You want to float it for about a half an hour. You want it to be, take temperature. You don't want to just throw an ice cube in there. If someone else is caring for them, tell them please just put it in there. Minimum 10 minutes, but it'll break apart. A lot of the time it'll stay a cube shape until you dump it in there. But let it get temperature, and I'm just going to dump it right in. I'm not going to shut off any of the filters, and they'll all just go for it. And whoever misses, the crabs get. But as you can see, I starved my tank, and starving the tank does have this little brownish stuff start showing up on the bottom. So you should be doing water changes every 2 weeks. With the marks I talked about, they're down the side right here. So once it gets down to the bottom, I think each one is 5 gallons. So 5, 10, 50, 20, 25. So I think that tank down there is 30 gallons, if my guess is right. And that's after you turn the pump off. And when you turn the pump off, down here is going to fill up probably to about here or maybe here. And that's totally okay. Because when you turn the pumps back on, it's going to go. It's just all about after you're done filling it up and you put all your stuff away, turn the pumps on and just stand there and watch just keep an eye on this. And for the first 2 minutes, you're just going to make sure that doesn't overflow. You can also grab it by its neck and pick it up if it's, gonna overflow like a pot on a stove, or just again spin the thing off or wide open. It'll make it go down. So that's the only quirks on it. There's nothing wrong with the tank. Here is a coral feeder. So if you want to spot feed, every one of these would love you if you spot fed them. I will give you some coral stuff. It's called Reefroids. So you'll get some Reefroids. I just put them in this right here, just a little scoop, just like it says. Stir it up, and then you suck it up just like a turkey baster, and then you put it where you want it to go. Zoas don't really need it, but they love dirtiness, so they'll grow more. But you're going to see a lot of corals that says has a mouth, needs food. These guys clearly don't need bulk stuff because they're going to eat it. But that's why my Zoas are kind of lacking in here, is I don't feed them. These guys seem to not mind, but yeah, you can feed them as you need them. Speaking of feeding, these guys really need to be fed. If I fed these guys more, they would plump up and they would take over that whole rock like they used to. They used to be over the whole thing, so I just don't have the time. So there's the baster, and I'll give you the food with it as well.